Injustice Year 2 starts off at Green Arrow's funeral. At the end of the ceremony, Superman tries to apologize to Canary. She lashes out at him. In retaliation, Superman grabs her by the throat and then she urges him to kill her. But Superman backs off. They both threaten each other a little bit more before Superman flies away. Canary then asks Oracle over her earpiece if her lenses recorded that, and Oracle confirms. We briefly cut to Kyle Rayner getting ready to return to Earth. The bat signal is lit and Commissioner Gordon heads towards Gotham PD. It turns out Superman lit the signal and he's looking for Batman. He asks Gordon where he is, but Gordon says he doesn't know and Superman flies away. The next page, Batman awakens in the company of Alfred and Zatanna. The place they're in has the interior of a pyramid, and Zatanna tells Batman they're in the Tower of Dr. Fate. He tries to get up but is still severely hurt, and Zatanna puts him back to sleep. Kyle Rayner is continuing his trek back to Earth when suddenly he is ambushed by Sinestro. Sinestro has his core members tie up each of Rayner's limbs before taunting him and ordering his men to dismember him. At the planet Oa, the Guardians of the Universe are holding court. Ganthet says he senses something bad about Earth. The other Guardians tell him to let Hal handle it, but Ganthet says Hal is actually part of the problem. We then see that Guy Gardner is standing in front of the Guardians and receives orders to travel to Earth and find out what happened to Kyle Rayner. Back at the Watchtower, Superman is watching over Wonder Woman, who is still in a coma from the Captain Atom incident. He radios Green Lantern and tells him to go to Washington and prevent Congress from shutting down the US government. The Flash is to meet him there. When Green Lantern asks if Superman will come, he tells him he's too angry for a face-to-face. When they arrive, Green Lantern and the Flash both say no to the shutdown and then take the entire courtroom hostage. The president tries to call Batman, but Batman lets it go to Oracle, who picks it up instead. He tells her the regime have taken Congress. Green Lantern tells the judge no one is leaving until the situation is averted. Hippolyta arrives at the Watchtower to take Wonder Woman back to Themyscira. Suddenly, outside the Watchtower shows up Sinestro. Superman rushes outside and charges him all the way to the moon. Sinestro doesn't want to fight. Instead, he came to warn Superman that they're going to come bring Earth back to normal. Congress finally succumbs to the Flash and Green Lantern, but when they walk out of the courthouse, the police and the Guardians await him. Superman meets with Ganthet at the Hall of Justice. Ganthet tries to forcibly tell Superman to stop what he's doing, and Superman refuses. The two have a heated argument, which ends with Superman telling Ganthet to get out of Earth. Ganthet complies, but takes Hal back with him to Oa. Once Ganthet leaves, Sinestro begins to talk to Superman, saying stuff like "I told you so." During their exchange, Superman demands that Ganthet tell him if he was watching Krypton on the day it exploded, and judging by the non-answer, it's safe to assume that he did. Superman tells Sinestro he still doesn't trust him, to which Sinestro replies, "But you'll need me when the time comes." Every Green Lantern is then summoned to Oa. Superman and Lex head over to Gotham to install their superhuman police force. Gordon reluctantly lets the soldiers in, but when Montoya asks if he's just going to lay down, Gordon implies that he isn't. He then meets with Oracle at her hideout. He asks her where Batman is and she tries to play stupid. He calls her out and tells her he knew about this all along. She tells him he's still at the Tower of Fate and asks him why he's doing this. He then admits to her that he has cancer and the two embrace each other. Afterwards, she tells him they have a plan and pushes a button, and the door behind her opens to reveal the birds of prey. Superman tries to convince the Flash and Lex that allying themselves with Sinestro is a good idea, but none of them see it that way. Sinestro begins to sell himself with his origin story to explain why he has all the motive to want to take out the Guardians. They still don't buy it, so Sinestro gives Lex his ring and tells him he'll need him when the time comes. The Guardians and Green Lantern are back at Oa, with the Guardians asking Hal about Superman and how he agrees to his stance. Hal goes back and forth with them for a bit before he is suddenly dismissed. He then turns around to see Kilowog, and a few moments later, the rest of the Green Lantern Corps flying in. He asks, "What's happening?" And Kilowog tells him he's leading an army to Earth to take down Superman. Hal asks if they expect him to let that go down, and Wog tells him the Guardians figured that would be your stance, so I'm ordered to take your ring away. Hal refuses and tries to get away, but fails and gets stripped of his ring and thrown into holding cells. The Green Lanterns then head to Earth. John Stewart manages to help Hal break free from the holding cells and retrieve his ring. They then head back to Earth just as Superman is getting Billy Batson out of school early. The regime and Green Lantern Corps finally meet up, and it's about to be on. The regime strike first, but their attack does nothing as the Green Lantern Corps eat a tactical strike from the Watchtower. Sinestro, still being detained without his ring, talks Lex into giving him his ring back. The Green Lantern Corps are watching the regime and are ready to lobotomize Superman to transport him back to Oa. But Sinestro comes to save the day! The fight goes back to even by the time Hal and John arrive. Sinestro then does the unthinkable and calls the Sinestro Corps. We'll revisit what's going on there in a second, but for now we'll go to Gotham and we see Harvey Bullock being assaulted by one of Superman's police force. Bad enough to have to get admitted into the hospital. Montoya and Gordon goes to see how he's doing. Well, Montoya did at least. Gordon seems to have gone there for the sole purpose of getting Harvey out of there and taking it back to the cops. Harvey seems pumped about this, and the three of them leave the hospital together. Back to the war. Sinestro talks Kilowog into calling off the attack, and being severely outnumbered, he has to. Kilowog then asks if they could go back to Oa, but Sinestro tells Superman letting them go back would be a mistake, and he agrees. Sinestro tries to push even further and get an order to kill them, but the regime refuses. Superman orders the Green Lanterns to give him their rings and promises they are going to be humanely detained. He then orders that the entire Sinestro Corps go home except Sinestro. Guy Gardner is in space and he sees the Yellow Lanterns leaving Earth and informs Black Canary. He tells her he's got to report back to Oa. Back in Gotham, Commissioner Gordon has rallied all of the former Gotham PD and formally recruits them to the cause. He tells them they're going to take out that police force. Someone asks how, and he demonstrates the super bullet by taking it, then taking a bullet to the head and surviving. Following this, Black Canary and Harley Quinn have a brief encounter and they bond over Superman killing the love of their lives. Harley Quinn then officially joins the insurgency. Guy Gardner returns to Oa, bruised and battered. He tells him that Superman and Sinestro are working together. He tells him he got into it with some Sinestro Corps scouts on the way, which is why his clothes are torn and scarred, and suspects that's what happens to Kyle. Gardner tries to get them to go attack, but Ganthet says it's not the right time. Meanwhile, Commissioner Gordon and the crew start their crusade on the police force. We fast forward 7 months later, and Black Canary has just delivered Connor. Guy Gardner hits her up on this communicator thing that they have, and they start speaking about their next plan. Guy says their secret weapon is about 3 weeks away from being ready, and it's revealed to us that Guy's secret plan is to bring a whole nother Earth to fight. This whole other Earth is called Mogo. However, 2 Sinestro Corps members realize what's coming and warn Superman. Realizing the element of surprise is gone, the Green Lanterns decide to attack right away. Superman publicly declares war, which makes Oracle tell Zatanna to get Batman back from the Tower of Fate, which she does. Batman is still not ready to fight, but he plans to help the insurgency alongside Oracle. The insurgency readies their attack on the ground as the regime meet the Green Lanterns in space. Guy tries to talk some sense into Superman until Superman insults him and then breaks his arm, and this starts another brawl. In the middle of this, Mogo shoots a beam at the regime and it appears to eradicate them. A quarter of the Sinestro Corps is wiped out, but Superman, Hal, and Sinestro manage to save each other. Meanwhile, the insurgency carries out their elaborate plan on the ground and are able to capture the Flash and Robin. Gordon then gets Lex Luthor to teleport him to the Watchtower. The insurgency then try to go to Ferris Airfield and steal airplanes, but Hal Jordan arrives in time with the assistance of Carol and is able to stop them. Guy arrives shortly after, and him and Hal get into it, before Sinestro arrives with 2 other Corps members. They are just about to kill Guy when the Guardians show up. They completely wreck on Sinestro and take away Hal Jordan's ring while he's in flight, retrieving Carol back from Guy. He begins to fall and calls out for Sinestro to save Carol. Sinestro offers him a yellow ring and tells him to save her himself. After some hesitation, Hal takes it and saves Carol. Monitoring the action at Oracle's headquarters, Oracle and Batman realize the Sinestro Corps is putting civilians in harm's way to avoid Green Lantern attacks. Suddenly, Oracle realizes their comm systems are being hacked, and Batman realizes it's Cyborg's doing. Jim Gordon and Lex arrive at the Watchtower at this time, and Gordon surprises Cyborg and subdues him, stopping the hack. Gordon then asks Barbara to switch to a private line and says his goodbye to her before dying. Back at the Ferris aircraft, the Guardians and Sinestro Corps are still at a standoff, while the insurgency is finally able to steal the 4 planes that they came for. Black Canary then takes the Batwing, and judging by what Alfred said to her, her mission is to stop Superman. Ganthet has a few more choice words for Hal and Sinestro before flying up to space to confront Superman. He levels Superman with an insane attack that makes him crash down to Earth. 2 Sinestro agents catch him, but get ambushed by the stolen planes and they lose hold of Superman. Superman then sees a Batwing coming, and assuming it's Batman, he blows it up with his eye lasers. Moments later, Canary emerges from the sky on top of him and shouts him all the way down back to the ground. When they crash down, Superman isn't hurt, and Canary says something about Lois Lane, which causes Superman to grab her neck. Canary then pulls out her sidearm and shoots Superman with a kryptonite bullet to the chest. Canary says the only reason he's alive is because of Batman. After this, we see a few images that suggest the regime's defeat, like Cyborg, Robin, and the Flash being detained, and Ganthet finishing off what's left of the Sinestro Corps. Then, out of nowhere, a yellow ring from space flies all the way down to Earth and on the finger of none other than Superman. He creates pliers and plucks the bullet out of his chest, then shoots Canary with his eye lasers. Canary, although in obvious pain, starts laughing. Remember their first encounter in this issue? Well, Canary got those contacts in again and was finally able to broadcast Superman's true colors for the world to see. The brawling is still taking place and Superman rejoins the fray. Sinestro is able to isolate John Stewart and tells him he must join the Yellow Lanterns for them to win. While John is distracted in thought, Sinestro stabs him from behind and kills him. Sinestro then brings John's corpse to Hal and tells him Guy Gardner killed him. Hal rushes towards Guy in a rage and lays a smackdown on him before tearing off his right arm, which causes him to crash down to Earth. It is presumed that Guy Gardner is dead. In the midst of all this, Superman is causing carnage left and right. Since he's being broadcast doing this, billions all over the world now fear him, which grants him immense power with the yellow ring. Batman realizes this and orders the stream to be shut down, but it is too late. Ganthet tells Superman he is no longer required for trial, but Ganthet has to kill him. At the encouragement of Sinestro, Superman grabs Ganthet by the throat and pushes him all the way back into Mogul. Then he pushes Ganthet and Mogul all the way back into the sun, which effectively ends the war between them and marks the end of this issue. Woo! Now that was a dandy. I mean, Injustice Year 1, honestly, that is truly one of the best stories that DC has produced, at least after Crisis on Infinite Earths. But in my opinion, I think Year 2 blows Year 1 out the water and damn near every facet. They actually were able to cut off like 12 issues. They cut it down from 36 to 24, and I think it helped a lot. A lot less filler was in this issue, and you know, Sinestro, man, Sinestro is just a beast in this issue, man. And the way he's playing chess with everybody is just amazing. So stay tuned, guys. Remember, if you haven't seen my Namor breakdown yesterday, go ahead and do that. And Year 3 should be here next week and throughout the week. I'm going to try to at least get 2 character breakdowns out there. It's a little busy week for me, but no excuses, man. We're gonna keep this train rolling, all right? Other than that, I appreciate the love of you guys, everybody who comes through. And even if you just come through to say what's up and watch the video, I love y'all, man. Every view, every like, you know what I'm saying? All that counts, you know, like, don't think that you're small or insignificant. I really got love for everybody who like really fucks with my channels, man. Other than that, thanks again, Gorilla City, for your time. And let's get back out there to fucking up some commas. Talk to you guys later.